The GIAA is here live from Columbus State University. We are ready to get you started for semifinals today, tomorrow. ABAC, Columbus State, 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. 8 games in each location, 16 total, Rich. How excited are you? It's finally here, semifinal time.
We've been waiting a long time for this, Thrift. We're here. We're back at CSU, the campus of Columbus State University, at the fantastic Lumpkin Center, which is a state-of-the-art basketball gymnasium that rivals a lot of D1 schools. This is NCAA Division II, so the 3A and the 4A classification are going to be showcased here and tip off approximately a couple hours of that first game for the 3A classification for GIAA.
All right, so we're going to talk about 1A and 3A here on today's show. Let's go ahead and start with the 1A classification first, Rich. And again, how do you watch? Only way you can, GIAA.tv, $29.99. You heard it right. GIAA.tv, $29.99. That's how much it costs to be able to watch all the streams today. That's 8 games for $29.99. And tomorrow. So that is $29.99. One cost to watch 16 games. I want a moment of silence for how cheap that is. Unbelievable. High-level basketball at both locations, and I cannot wait to be on the call. And we got some fantastic guys. You're going to be meeting Mike Peacock, Dave Platter, Richard Holdridge, myself. We're going to bring you all the coverage. Brett Taylor, Kyle Tucker down at ABAC. I'm telling you, you are in store for a fantastic day today. Let's start with 1A. So 1A girls will kick it off. In my opinion, the better games are earlier in the day at these semifinals because it's a 2-3 matchup, Rich. Let's start first with the 1A classification at ABAC. How about Citizens Christian and Robert Toombs? What are you looking forward to with that one, Rich?
Oh, man, I was able to see Citizens Christian.
You saw them last week, Rich.
Absolutely. They are a great team that's coming in, taking on Robert Toombs. You got the 2-3 matchup. Robert Toombs was able to get by Thomas Jefferson. Citizens Christian able to get by David Emmanuel. I'm looking forward to this matchup just because you got the defending champions, Robert Toombs, going up against Citizens Christian, who lost to St. George's in the Final Four last year. Citizens Christian wants to try to get to the championship. They feel like they have some unfinished business.
Great job, Rich. Next, Memorial Day. They're going to be taken on later tonight at 6 o'clock. So Robert Toombs, Citizens Christian. That is at 3 p.m. At 6 p.m., it's the number 1 seed Memorial Day, Richard. 17-4 on the year are the Matadors, and they are going to be taking on the St. George's Dragons.
The Dragons out of Milner.
How about that name? Listen, more think about it. We got River Dragons here in Columbus hockey team, but Dragons, that's such a great name. St. George's, they come in this year 15-6 on the season. Neither team has faced off against each other. This will be the first time this season, as if you look at the record from 15-6 of St. George's, they have won 6 of their last 7, including beating Fullington by 2 in the quarterfinals. It's going to be a good game, Rich. What do you got?
Absolutely. How about the turnaround that Memorial Day had, going from a 5th seed losing to the quarters last year to being a number 1 overall seed, taking on St. George's, the Dragons, out of Milner. And they're able to get back to the championship. Hopefully, they got to the championship last year where they fell to Robert Toombs. St. George's wants to try to get back there, but Memorial Day stands in the way.
Yeah, they do. Now let's go to the boys. Big Rich, throw it up. All right, at 4:30, the LaGrange Warriors and Coach Brett Gaylor are going to be taking on Citizens Christian, who played in the championship game last season, Rich. These two teams had great performances in that quarterfinals, as the Patriots come in 18-10 on the seasons from Citizens Christian. 1-5, though, in region play, but didn't matter because they played in such a tough region. They played in the region with Memorial Day and Robert Toombs. They also lost to First Preparatory, who is the number 1 team in this entire classification. They did not play LaGrange this year. LaGrange, again, they come in 15-7 on the season. They won their region. Rich, thoughts on this one? 2-3 matchup and 1A at A-back.
Well, I had the privilege of calling the first 2 games at Tatnall in the quarterfinals on Saturday. You got LaGrange, Thomas Jefferson. How about LaGrange Academy? As they lost in the quarters, getting to the semis and taking on a Citizens Christian team that also is having just some type of season. They lost in the championship last year to First Preparatory Christian. They want to try to get back. You were on the call
for that, Rich?
Yes, I was. I was on the call for that. But I think that LaGrange Academy is just that team that is very scary. They were able, even though they were able to withhold the challenge that came from Thomas Jefferson, they were able to pull away in that second half.
Yeah.
As far as Citizens Christian, had a battle against St. George's, but clearly they were the better team. This is strength on strength. Looking forward to that 4:30
I'll be watching
matchup.
No doubt. We'll be watching it while we're going to be live from here, Rich. All right, now let's talk about the other matchup. Robert Toombs taking on FPCA. Now, Robert Toombs comes in the game 17-9. They're 0-3 against FPCA. They lost by 16 last time they faced off. They beat Oak Mountain by 15 in the quarterfinals. Richard, Robert Toombs trying to pull off the big upset because FPCA is 20-3 right now, Rich, and they are on a tear. They have not lost a game since December the 18th. That is right, December the 18th. They have not lost, and they have won 13 consecutive games in a row. They're 20-3. They're defending champions. It's going to be a tough ask to be able to take down FPCA. Their leading scorers, Robert McLeod at 22.6 points per game, and Malachi Furlow, 14.3, the junior. This team's showing why they're the number 1 team and the defending champion.
Rematch of the semifinal matchup last season at Bruton Parker College. Robert Toombs, who comes in to this game, the 4 seed, taking on the 1 seed. Robert Toombs able to get a very convincing win over Oak Mountain. First Preparatory Christian, they actually started on Saturday at Stratford, and they were able to defeat Memorial Day. I really like this matchup, but I think the defending champions, First Preparatory Christian, out of Hinesville, Georgia, is going to get the job over Robert Toombs.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do 3A here on Inside the GIAA. We'll take a break. Don't go anywhere. Be right back after this.
This copyrighted broadcast, presented exclusively on GIAA.tv, is copyrighted by the Georgia Independent Athletic Association, a division of the Georgia Independent School Association, for the private use of our audience. It may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the Georgia Independent School Association.
For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long distance love. For the farsighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
At Jack Houston Memorial Hospital, our focus is you. Even though we performed more than 1,300 joint replacements last year, we treat you like you are our only patient. Your surgeon explains your joint replacement, so nothing is a surprise. Our team knows your treatment plan, and we work together to get you back on your feet again. That's why our hospital is recognized year after year as a leader in patient satisfaction and quality of care. Jack Houston Memorial Hospital. Excellence, always.
Welcome back, everyone. Rich wasn't going to let me know until I was just, you know what? I'm going to take the blame. I'm going to take the blame for dazing off and not being on my toes. This was not on Rich. This is on me. And as a professional broadcaster, I should have known better. I should have known better, Rich. So I apologize to you here on Live Air.
We've been working together for 3 years. When I say ready, we're coming back, I just Oh, boy.
Rich just says you're ready.
The most challenging thing, being a producer and being an on-air talent, it is. But you got to give credit to guys like us, Brett Naylor can do that. They were able to do that.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Should have played another commercial, but hey, it is what it is.
All right. So let's go to the 3A classification, Rich. That's where we're at, and you'll be on the call for that first game as the 3A girls will be coming up here, Richard, and that is going to be Terrell and Westfield. What are you looking forward to with that one being on the call? Westfield, team coached by Mason Nelson, 21-5. Terrell has had a great season as well, Richard. They come in 22-5. I mean, Westfield's 22-5. The Brook Terrell Academy is 21-5. What do you look forward to with this one?
Well, in this bracket, I had the privilege of being on the call on Friday up in First Presbyterian Day.
Yep.
And I was able to see Terrell just dominate Dominion Christian. And then I saw Westfield take on a little bit more challenging opponent in John Millage. Remember, they went to the championship last year.
No doubt.
Westfield, they would have been the number 2 team in 3A if they didn't lose to 4A Pacelli in the district championship. They were the number 2 team all season. Terrell Academy has had a very good record this year. But the thing is, Terrell Academy, if you look at their strength of schedule, they've been winning the games that they are expected to win. I mean, they were the 2 seed last year. They had a disappointing loss to John Millage in the quarters. So Terrell Academy has something to prove. That small school out of Dawson.
Nope.
I kind of think this is a rivalry game just because you have Dawson. You got a small, tight-knit community over there in Dawson, Georgia. You got a small, tight-knit community in Perry. And I tell you what, I'm excited about this. We're going to end up seeing a great game. When I think of Westfield, I mean, I think of players like Mary Blake Brandon. You know, I think of just that depth that Westfield has. But I honestly think that Terrell Academy, just looking at their stats and just the way they have been playing this season, phenomenal record, undefeated in district play, 21-5 record. And it starts with Hadley Webb, Sally Masters, Natalie Oliver. They got great guard play. And that's what I love about Terrell Academy. However, Westfield School has kind of been that sleeping giant. They've been playing a very tough schedule. And I think they are ready to go. I think Westfield School is going to give Terrell Academy a great fight. This is going to be a battle. I think it's going to go down to the last second. I mean, you talk about Molly Gunningham, Mary Blake Brandon, Dalen Sumner. I mean, they have depth, and I'm excited to be on the call for this one.
Yes, thank you, Rich. You can tell he's calling that game. Frederica and Lakeview, only undefeated team in the GIAA. Frederica had a tough one there in the quarterfinals. They're going to take on Lakeview, who's been a champion before. And
2-time champion.
We're looking forward to seeing Lakeview taking on Frederica. I'm telling you, this where it could be an upset. Lakeview comes in 16-10, but played in a very tough region that has George Walton in it and Athens Christian.
Yes.
Both of those teams are ranked number 1 and number 3 in the 4A classification, Richard. Frederica, 21-0, undefeated in their region, number 25 in the entire state. Can't wait to see this matchup coming up later on, Rich.
Again, Lakeville, the 2-time champions, trying to go for the 3-peat, taking on undefeated Frederica. I got to witness both these games at FPD on Friday. You talk about what Lakeview was able to do against Westminster Schools of Augusta. I love that guard play. It was going back and forth. You had Emery Combs battling with India Williams. It was incredible. You got the Purdy sisters. You got Lakeview that has the depth, taking on a Frederica, a team that was able to get the big win over St. Andrews. And when it comes to Frederica's undefeated. But I don't think they've played a team like Lakeview. Lakeview is completely loaded, and I'm looking forward to just an incredible matchup. Frederica Academy out of St. Simon's Island. They are led by the Mountain Sisters, Asia Mountain and Ava Mountain. I mean, they have had such an incredible season. And it also starts with that post player, Lauren Dunn, who's just a matchup nightmare down low.
No doubt. All right, now let's go to the boys classification. And starting it all, St. Andrews, defending champion, taking on Lakeview, who was the champion 2 years ago. This matchup went down to the wire last year. I think it's going to be a fantastic game between two very evenly matched teams. St. Andrews comes in 19-7, didn't even lose a region game, and Lakeview comes in 21-7. Again, they play in that same region with Athens Christian and George Walton. Both those teams good in the 4A classification, and Loganville, by the way, as well. And they lost to Loganville in that region tournament in an upset. Lakeview did. They beat Tifton area 59-51 last Saturday in the quarterfinals. Lakeview and St. Andrews, 4:30. Going to be a big one, Rich.
Absolutely. You've got the defending 3A champion, St. Andrews, taking on the champion from 2 years ago that lost to St. Andrews in the semifinals last year. I cannot wait for this matchup. Lakeview feels, well, they had a disappointing season last year, losing in the finals with their quest to go back-to-back. They feel like they want to try to get back there. I'm really looking forward to this matchup. And then the other matchup, you got Brookwood, who lost in the championship to St. Andrews last year. They were the number 1 seed last year. They're the number 1 seed this year. Taking on a Valwood team that kind of feels they got a little momentum after getting a huge win over their rival, Deerfield Windsor. Valwood, the 5 seed, being able to make it this far. And it's a pretty good story. And this is a rivalry, battle of Thomasville and Valdosta. You know the fans are going to be packing this Lumpkin Center, and it's going to be a heated, passionate rivalry, and I can't wait.
You're going to be able to watch all of them on GIAA.tv. $29.99. That's where you can watch it. We hope you enjoy it today. 1A and 3A. Enjoy the semifinals. We'll see you tomorrow on Inside the GIAA.